What's up everybody, this is Scott and welcome back to another video. Well, clearly you know that I love making videos and I've started to dabble in photography, as you can kind of see right here. So full disclosure, I'm not very good at either videos or photography, but I like doing it because it's a lot of fun. One thing's for sure, I do not want to carry any unnecessary equipment with me. You'll never find me with like camera around my neck and phone in my pocket and fanny pack on or anything like that, because I don't like to carry that stuff. And with today's cameras in the phones, it's borderline whether you even need a DSLR other than the phone that you have in your pocket. And the old saying goes, the best camera that you have is the one that you carry with you. Good Lord, I'm so cliche. However, historically, phones have had that limitation because you got the one lens and you can't get any of the crazy zoom lenses that you see on DSLRs. However, now comes the time where folks like Moment comes in and they make your phone camera that much better. So in today's video, let's talk about the Moment V2 lenses teamed up with my Google Pixel 2 XL. The key to the Moment V2 lenses currently is the phone case. At this very moment, they make these cases for all of the Google Pixel line. That includes the original and Google Pixel 2 XL and regular, as well as iPhone 6, 7, 8 regular and plus, iPhone X, Note 8, Galaxy S8, and the Galaxy S8 Plus. The case is good enough for everyday carry. However, I absolutely hate the power in the volume rocker buttons. They just feel kind of dead when you press them. There's no differentiation. I get why they do that, because you can team this thing up with Osmo Mobile and you can get some really cool shots with an Osmo Mobile in your hand as well as the lenses. But like I said, the least favorite thing about this case is the fact that there's just no feeling at all when you press the volume rocker or the power buttons, but it doesn't matter. They're not there for the buttons, they're there for the swappable lenses. Inside of it has a micro suede, so it protects my Google Pixel 2 XL investment because it's really nice and soft. The outside is more of a TPU style case, so those folks that have maybe a Rinky or a Spigen are gonna know what that feeling is like. It has a very nice slim design, curved edges that have a nice texture on the back that adds some support for an otherwise really slippery phone. Trust me, I have dropped it many a times, thankfully just on top of a bed when it's not in a case. It also comes with a slot in the bottom for a camera strap, but honestly, I don't get down like that, so yeah, I didn't use a camera strap. There's a lip on the front of the case itself where you can put your phone face down, but one thing I didn't like about that was the fact that it picks up a ton of dust in your pocket, so keep that in mind if you're kind of like me and you're OCD about keeping almost no dust at all on your phone. So I've talked a lot about the case, but why is that important? The case itself is the mechanism to which you can attach the V2 lenses. So the case is very, very important. The cool thing about that means you get a proper placement every single time you place a lens on the device. It's also really, really simple to do. This is as difficult as it gets. Moment's made it ridiculously simple. There's two lines that you have to line up. One is a white line on the lens itself, one is a line that's made into the case. You line those two up, quick twist clockwise 90 degrees, and boom, that is it. That photo lens is already in place for you to take some exquisite shots. So I tested three lenses, the Tele Lens, the Super Fisheye, and the wide lens. So let me talk about all of the lenses together and then individually. On the lenses themselves, they're extremely well built. They're made of aluminum, they're crisp lines and smooth edging, and they're extremely heavy, but not heavy in a bad way. Heavy that you know that there is quality built into those brand new V2 lenses. These feel like an extremely well-built piece of equipment, and honestly, I just love having them in my hands because they just look so good. So one thing I'm going to say is when you do attach them to the phone case itself, they do stick out a little bit, and they're supposed to. We recently took a trip to Disney World, and when I had those out taking pictures of the surroundings, a lot of folks came up and asked me, what exactly are those? What are you doing with those? So I had a chance to have more of like a coffee table chatter with these folks to say, these are just some phone lenses that you can pop onto this case. Here you go to Moment, this is where you can go and find them. I even had one of the characters actually pose a little bit for me, which was super cool as well, and they really liked the fact that I could swap the lenses. So I want to talk about the Tele Lens first. Tele Lens is probably my favorite for when I was vacationing, but my all-time favorite is the wide angle, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. The original Tele Lens was designed for the iPhone 5, but this particular lens that I have in V2 has evolved, and I absolutely love it. The center part of the picture is super sharp, exactly what it's supposed to do, and then has this really cool like curvish fish type feature that drops off on the edges, not in a bad way, but in a way that really adds some depth to the picture. So when I was capturing things like Epcot or anything that's nature related or travel scenes, it turned out to be super duper awesome when I was using the Tele Lens. So like I said, I used it a lot when I was at Disney, and the shots came out pretty excellent, as you can kind of see here. It's a 60mm focal length that will get you closer to the subject itself, and you don't have to rely on that really crappy digital zoom. This lens gets me closer without having to break down the picture at all. Moment says you should use the Tele Lens for portraits, landscapes, when traveling, and I can totally attest to that because it's awesome when you're at Disney, and sports. So moving on to the Fisheye lens, the Moment Super Fish lens captures 170 degrees of field of view. It's absolutely enormous. This is probably a lens that a lot of YouTubers or somebody who would want to vlog with a phone, this is the lens that's for you. You can get some really cool shots if you use this lens in the right scenario. Moment says you should use these for road tripping or architecture and real estate, action sports, and specifically video. I mentioned this before with the vlogging. So one thing that phones all do, and we all know that they do it, is they crop your video to add stabilization. So to get that crop back, you can slap on this lens and get more field of view, and this again is perfect for vlogging. If you vlog on your phone, this is a lens that you absolutely must have because it gives you that depth of field and you're that center subject, so it's a really, really cool look. So one thing on it, there is some distortion on the edges of that Super Fisheye lens, so I didn't really use it that much. Honestly, because at Disney I wanted to get closer to things, not further away. So that's one lens that I didn't use as much, but I could see in 2018 if I do some vlogging, this is definitely the lens that I will probably use. So moving on to the wide lens. The wide lens is an everyday use, go-to wide angle lens that allows for 2 times more picture than just what your phone has. So that wide angle, like I mentioned, gives you that 2 times more picture than you'd get with just your regular sensor on the phone, and you can get some really exquisite shots when you use it. As you can see here in some of the nature shots that I've taken, you really get a much wider field of view with these photos when you have the wide angle lens on, rather than just using the only lens that comes with the Google Pixel 2. The wide lens just made the shots more breathtaking because you get that much more of the landscape that gets cut out when you're making video or photos with just the regular phone sensor. Some of these shots that I've taken with Mount Everest from Animal Kingdom and some of these shots on Epcot, they looked right out of a magazine. They were so good. That's probably not actually true, but they're pretty good for me, and I'm a crappy photographer. So one thing I did notice on some of the photographs, if the angle was just right, there would be some lens flare. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. So Moment says you should use these lenses for landscapes, group photos, architecture of real estate, and some crazy wide shots. Again, this is a lens you would want if you want additional field of view outside of what you already get out of your regular standard photo lens on your phone. As I mentioned before, my least favorite thing out of the lenses, the case, and everything was the power button and the volume rocker on the case. They are just dead. There's no feeling to them. I didn't enjoy pressing them. I had a hard time pressing them, but I understand why they have it that way. This is something that can be teamed up with the DJI Osmo Mobile, and you want to make sure that the phone fits into the Osmo Mobile clamp. I totally understand that. I still just didn't like it. And the reason I didn't mind it is because you can take some amazing photos with these camera lenses, so I just got over it because I became a better photographer because of it. So I also talked about that lens flare. So this is one thing that I did notice on the wide angle lens specifically. It did suffer from lens flare. As you can kind of see here, there are some lens flare there. So yeah, be very careful when you're shooting into direct sunlight or any direct lighting at all. You can get that lens flare, so just be cognizant of that when using that wide angle lens. And so yeah, the price. So these are not necessarily the least expensive lenses on the market, but the old adage goes, you get what you pay for. So each of these lenses basically run anywhere between $89 and $99 per lens. And while I understand that that's very expensive, go with me on this. If I have a, I don't know, iPhone X or a Google Pixel 2 XL in my pocket that has arguably the 2 best cameras on the market, well, it's not really arguably, they have the best 2 cameras on the market. If I slap a case on it and put a lens on it, now I don't have to carry a DSLR. Also, I don't have to buy a DSLR. So let's assume I get a mid-range DSLR for, I don't know, $600. Is that $600 DSLR going to take that much better photos than my $1,000 phone plus lenses? So it depends. If your livelihood is being a photographer, this is probably not for you. However, if you're an Instagrammer or someone that likes to just take photos and videos, these are probably more up your alley, and you can save some money by not buying a $600 DSLR. So for just a little bit above half, you can get a case, 3 lenses that go onto your already amazing $1,000 phone, and save that $300 by not buying a DSLR at $600 bucks. So there you go, I just saved you money. So would I recommend these products? Well, I just kind of hinted on it before. If you already have a really baller smartphone or a new smartphone that has a great camera, basically anything from iPhone 6 and beyond, honestly, those phones take really amazing shots, so I would just get a case and some of these lenses. I would probably start with one, the wide-angle lens, just to make sure that you like it, and then you can start to see if it's best to capitalize on getting additional lenses. So if you're a person that carries around a high-end phone and a high-end DSLR, this may not be for you. However, if you're a person that carries around a camera to get really great shots and a high-end phone, you should probably think about investing in these lenses, because then you could reduce all the things that you get to carry. If you're a professional photographer, these may not replace your main rig. However, you could use these in conjunction with some other things to get some amazing shots that support more B-roll, whatever it might be, if you're making videos or wedding photography. You could team this up with, again, a DJI Osmo Mobile, get those really cool shots while having that additional stabilization. So the TLDR, if you're an Instagrammer or anyone that wants to make their photography better and you're not a professional, these lenses are absolutely one of the best accessories you can get for your phone. So that's it. That's all I have. Thanks so much for watching all our videos, and thanks so much for subscribing and watching our live shows. As always, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next time.